right, lead heads, welcome back to the Talking Lead podcast. This is episode 255, baby. 255. And I hope you guys caught last week's episode 254. Had an awesome interview with the guys from Lanzang Tactical. It was amazing stories that they had. And then talking about some of their new rounds that they've got with the 224 Valkyrie and a 260 there. So make sure you go back, tune in. And then 2 episodes ago, we had our kickoff for the AK Corner, part 1 of the Talking Lead AK Corner presented by Pioneer Arms. So that's a segment that we're going to be bringing to you lead heads once a month. And every episode, every part, we're going to learn something new about the AK-47. So part 1 was about the history. And then we get into part 2. Part 2, we're going to be talking about the actual components and parts of the AK. And we're going to have an expert on who's going to go through and talk about all the different parts and components for you guys. Kind of break it down and then rebuild it back up. And, oh, by the way, we're giving away 12 rifles during this series, guys. 12. It's going to be AKs, PPS-43s, maybe some Hell Pups in there. But Pioneer Arms has, and they surprised me too. If you guys go back and listen, you could tell how surprised I was. But CJ made the announcement that we're going to be giving away 12 rifles during this series. The next part 2, we're actually going to give away 2 to make up for part 1 where we didn't give one away. So make sure you guys are tuning in, listening, engaging with us, like I said, on social media, through emails. You guys have been flooding me with AK information and feedback from that series, and it's been awesome. So keep it coming every month for the next 12 months. You won't be disappointed. And speaking of not being disappointed, we're going to bring you another educational series today. If you guys remember a few episodes back, we had our Optics Class 101 with RITON Optics. And we had Brady on for an episode, and we had Brady and we had Charlie Melton on for part 2 of that. And we're going to be continuing that today with RITON Optics. But we've got a newbie, got a new guy joining you guys. He's not new to Talking Lead, but he is new, first time on the show. So let's welcome in Jerimiah Alexander, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, man. It's good to be here.
And we're going to call you J-Mack because I understand that's your nickname, J-Mack.
Yes, sir.
So J-Mack is the business development manager. Just came on board, last month or 2?
Yeah, I've been with the company for a number of years now, but just swapped positions as of very recently. Yes, sir.
Well, congratulations. I know that to have that title encompasses a lot. So you're kind of wearing the coat of many colors over there at RITON.
That's what I always wanted when I started with RITON. This is the position that I asked for, and I had to do some other work first, but you know what? It paid off, and Brady took care of me, and I got the position I wanted, which is a pretty cool position.
Yeah, and speaking of many colors, you guys, I mentioned this last episode as well, you guys are running a summer special right now with your optics. Talk about that.
Man, that was about as good of a lead-in as I could imagine. You know what you're doing. I'm going to have to work on my lead-ins.
I think I just fell into that one.
Yes, sir. So from July 16th through Friday, August 31st, what we're doing is with any optic or red dot purchased, we are offering a free Cerakote. You have to check out our website for that. And you've got Magpul Flat Dark, Earth, Magpul OD Green, and the Stealth Gray, also Magpul. You can pick any one of those colors when you buy an optic for that time period. It's a pretty cool deal.
Stealth Gray. Love it.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
I love it. That's an awesome color. So you guys, between now and the end of, we say August?
Yes, sir. August 31st.
August 31st, you guys can get a free Cerakote with your optic. And, you send that off to a guy to get that done. I mean, that's going to cost you probably anywhere from $100 to $200 on its own.
Easily cost you that much, yeah.
Yeah. So you guys have a very reputable Cerakote company that's doing these for you, and we've actually had him on the show before. It's Chance Paris, and the name of his company is
CP Tactical.
CP Chance Paris Tactical, maybe. I don't know.
Perhaps.
Perhaps. But no, we met Chance at NRA. He's a super great dude, and he showed us some of the work that he had done. He brought a couple of guns there, and then we're in talks with him to get some things done for Talking Lead as well. So it's really good deal right there, guys. Make sure you take advantage of that. Now, that is not in addition to your normal Leadhead discount code. So you either use your discount code or you use the Summer Colors deal, one or the other. Very cool. So we're going to learn optics today with J-Mack. We're going to get into talking about and we didn't really do this in any of these, in our previous two classes, but we want to talk about the parts and the components of what goes into making up a scope and how it actually works. So we're going to talk high level on that. I mean, we're not going to get super detailed on it unless J-Mack wants to. I mean, we'll leave it up to him. And then we'll talk a couple other things. We'll talk a little bit of reticles and things like that too. But just like our other segments, I want you guys to get involved with this because this is going to be something that we're going to continue to do probably on a monthly basis as well. And I want your feedback. I want your comments. I want you guys to take part and engage with us on this because this show is for you. I mean, this is not only for me to learn things, but it's also for you guys too. There's probably some things that I forget to ask or don't think to ask. So you guys really help me out with that, and I greatly appreciate it. So talkingled@gmail.com, and then, of course, you guys, you know how to get me on Facebook and Instagram as well. But before we get into that, J-Mack, I hear that Talking Lead Jackwagon Train rolling in. Gunny, right. Bring it on in.
Hoorah, Semper Fi, do or die, hold 'em high at 8th and I. It is time for the Talking Lead Jackwagon of the Week, so brace yourself, baby.
So, this week, we've got several Jackwagons we're going to talk about. I want to start off with this one. So one of you lead heads, and I can't remember who it is right now, but you sent me a link where Sacha Baron Cohen, is it Cohen or Cohen? I don't know. It's Cohen. He's the guy who plays Borat. And funny guy.
I would just call him Borat.
He's Borat, but the movie that I remember him from is Talladega Nights, where he was the French racer dude. Hilarious. Loved him I loved him in that movie. I can honestly say that I never watched Borat or I haven't seen any of his other movies. But in that movie, he was a genius. I loved it. I love Talladega Nights. So apparently he's up to his antics again. I don't know if he's filming another kind of a Borat-ish kind of movie or not. But the headline is, Riverside Gun Store Confronts Sacha Baron Cohen After He Comes to Business in Disguise. So basically what it is this gun store, and he's gone in his like Borat-ish kind of disguise or whatever, whoever he's playing this time. But the guy recognized him, I guess, from his movies as soon as he started talking. And of course he's in with a big camera crew and everything like that. But I think they're going under the guise of he's like an immigrant coming into our country who wants to learn how to shoot. Mm-hmm. And buy a gun. I think he they wanted to try to buy a gun, but the guy recognizes him and he's like, "Hey, you're Borat," whatever. I guess that freaks him out because he wasn't expected to get found out so quick. And then he just turns around and leaves. And there was no altercation or anything like that. But apparently it got this gun store owner, he got his panties in a wad because the interview that they do with him, he's like F-bombing every other word. Did you watch that video?
I did. I watched the whole video, and I thought, what great publicity it is for this store owner to be on the news calling out Borat. But he did take it a little personal. I would have laughed it off. I would have played that one a little different than he did.
Yeah, I think he could have come out looking a little bit better on this. But supposedly, this Riverside gun store, they've got some sort of reality TV show themselves. So I don't know. Right. But yeah, I thought that was kind of funny. I wish he would have gotten into it a little more. I mean, you could still play along with the dude and not sell him a gun.
Yeah, surprised that they didn't converse at all. But Borat, the video I saw, like as soon as he said you're Borat, he he marched off, and he looked like a weird Belgian biker. The tight leather pants, weird hat, a beard,
He kind of
down
looked
the
like
middle of his chest.
He kind of looked like Mick Fleetwood.
He did.
From Fleetwood Mac.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, he did.
That's what I was getting from him. But I thought I would point that out. So you gun store owners that are out there, don't be surprised if somebody comes in dressed like a Hungarian immigrant. It might be Sacha Baron Cohen trying to pull one over on you. I should probably look up how to say his last name. It's either Cohen or Cone. I don't know how they say it.
Yeah, me neither.
Everybody knows who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Right? All right, so let's kick it to you for your jackwagon this week.
So mine comes from actually a good friend of mine that's a neighbor. He's a police officer, and he sent me, a send extra prayers kind of message.
Right.
And then an article, and apparently in an LDS, a Mormon church in Nevada, one of the guys in the congregation just gets up and shoots 2 people, and one of them was his uncle, who's a firefighter who was killed in the altercation, and another family member took one to the leg.
Oh,
and
man.
But no motive to this date, but just just a jackwagon, right? It's just a weirdo that got up and just decided to shoot someone in church. It was a pretty crazy situation.
Yeah, so this just recently happened, so they don't really have a lot of details out about it now, but it says a man is in custody after allegedly fatally shooting. I don't think there's any alleged to it. He did it.
There were like 200 people there, so yeah, I don't think he's getting away with that.
And wounded another person in a Mormon church in Nevada. The city of Fallon Police Department identified the suspect gunman as Jackwagon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say his name. He's Jackwagon.
Mm.
He was a member of the congregation, it said. This is the Church of Latter-day Saints on West Richard Street in Fallon. He had attended the church services prior to opening fire about 1 p.m. Sunday local time, police said. The gunman killed Charles E. Miller, known as Fallon residents as Bert, and injured another person before walking home, police said. So he just nonchalantly walks home after he kills the dude. Man.
Well, note to anybody that wants to open fire in my church where my kids are, if you don't kill me, you're not walking home. That's a guarantee.
Yeah. There's no walking to it. You're down.
Yeah, I'm going to find you.
So it goes on and says, after placing phone calls to the home, O'Connor agreed to exit the property and surrendered to officers. It says it's too early to understand the motive, but initially it does appear to have been directed at the church. Not it to have been. It appears, but let me restate that. It is too early to understand the motive, but initially it does not appear to have been directed at the church, but an individual victim, the statement said. So apparently he had a beef with Mr. Miller. I don't know. He said Mr. Miller was a fireman?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I'm sure he's got a family.
Absolutely, yeah. He's got someone that lives here close to me that's going to miss him, so I know that much for sure.
Yeah, and the guy that was injured, you said, was another relative, or just
they were both Millers, yes, sir. I can't remember the exact relation, but
father son maybe or something.
Yes, sir. The Millers definitely took a hit on this one, and it's a shame.
Yeah, it definitely is. I guess more will come out as to motives, why this guy felt that he needed to do this in church. I mean, just do it at all. It's ridiculous. So
I think it takes an extra special kind of person to hurt a baby, to hurt a woman, and to do some weird stuff in church. Like, it's just extra in my mind. I know it doesn't matter where you shoot somebody, you still shot somebody, but like, just weird to do it in a church.
Yeah. I mean, just a whole nother level of evilness there.
Agreed.
So yeah, definitely this dickweed's on the jackwagon train. So I'm not even going to say his name, but you guys can look it up. Just open up. Google Nevada church shooting, and you'll get the latest news on it. I was reading from CNN. I mean, don't hate me for that, but that's the first one that came up. So, and they seem to be pretty unbiased in their article here. They just
In this,
they left
this
it to
case-
the facts for once. Holy shit!
Yep.
I mean, I pretty much read word for word what they said there. So, all right. So I've got more. I'm not stopping there. We got to load this sucker up. We got to make it worth Gunny's time. So another incident happened, and this is in Florida, and this was from. Stand by. I'll tell you the leadhead who sent me this. Pierce T, who's been engaging with us a lot lately. Take notes, leadheads. Pierce, he was a winner last week or week before last. He had won some swag from us, and congratulations to Pierce, and thank you for continuing to take part and engage with us, Pierce. So he sent this to us on Facebook, and it says, stand your ground. Man won't be charged in parking lot death. So this is in Florida, and just to break it down, this is in Pinellas. So they say it all started when his name's Marquise McClinton's girlfriend drove into a parking spot while he walked into a Circle A store on Sunset Point Road. And the parking spot that she pulled into was handicapped. Okay? So, and I think there's kids with them too. So this family, I'll say, pulls into this convenience store. They park in a handicapped parking spot. The man, I think one of the kids goes inside. And then a few seconds later, you see, and they show the security camera on this, a guy walks up. There's no audio, so you don't know what's being said. But you can tell that he is having a, what's the word? A very demonstrative conversation with the person in the car. Before he starts having that conversation, he walks around the car. So you see him walking around the car. And what he's doing is he's looking to see if they've got handicap tags. So apparently he's got beef. You know, he's got a beef with people who park in handicapped parking spaces but don't have the passes. And that's what the news story says too. It says basically he's done this before. I think in the past he's harassed other customers at this store about the handicapped parking. So one of the other customers walks in, says, "Hey, there's a confrontation going on outside. You know, such and such dude is yelling at somebody again." Well, the chick's boyfriend comes out, and you can see him walking up towards the guy, and the guy's pointing. You can see him pointing, like I said, being very demonstrative, talking to the person in the car. We have no idea what they were saying, but McGlockton. It's McGlockton. I was going to say McClintock. It's McGlockton. McGlockton. Goes up and he pushes this guy. And, I mean, he doesn't just push him. I mean, he puts his whole body weight behind it. And the dude's probably 200 plus pounds. He's a big, solid dude. And pushes it into the other guy and knocks him off his feet and on his ass. Okay? Once the guy gets his bearings, you know, what the hell just happened, you see him reaching back behind, and he's laying on the ground still behind, and he pulls out a gun. And just like that, he's pointing at the gun. Dude backs off a little bit, you know, kind of turns, but he doesn't, you know, he's not moving. And within like 4 seconds or so, dude on the ground shoots McGlockton in the chest. And then he runs into the store. He runs back into the store, and you see him holding his chest. And then they said that he died soon after that. So in Florida, they have what's called, and it got a lot of publicity back. What was that one guy there in Florida?
Oh, yeah.
And it was a stand your ground case too. And he went to court. They tried to prosecute him, but he was found not guilty. What was his name? You remember who I'm talking about?
I do. I think one of the guys' name was Brown, like the guy that did the assault.
No, was it Brown?
This big old dude. And
Trayvon Martin was the guy who got shot. Zimmerman.
Okay, that's a different one. There's another one.
No, George Zimmerman. You remember that?
I do remember that one. Yes, sir. Yeah.
God, that was so huge. And
Trayvon, yeah, that was a big deal.
Yeah, so Zimmerman, he kind of brought the stand your ground to national, international attention. So that's what they're saying here is that based on the stand your ground law that, it's still too early. They haven't decided whether they're going to prosecute this guy, but they can't arrest him. And the police officer there in Pinellas County, get back to my story, Sheriff Bob. Why do people have such hard last names? Gulateri. I don't know. Gulateri said based on the laws, and he breaks it down in this video. And you guys can Google this too. It's on WFMY News 2. There's a video of his interview with the press. He breaks it down, and he said this is why that we cannot arrest him, because he falls within the bookends, is what he said, of the stand your ground law. So basically, it's if you feel threatened, if someone is threatening you and you feel that they're going to continue to do you harm, then you have the right to protect yourself with deadly force. In a nutshell, I'm not an attorney, so I got to put that out there, J-Mack.
Not an attorney.
Don't come to me for your legal advice, all right, guys? I'm not an attorney. But he breaks it down, and I think I completely understood it, made sense to me. But, I mean, if you watch the video, and could things have gone differently? Could he have made different, decisions? Yeah, I mean, again, you're armchair quarterbacking this after it's already happened. Until you're in the heat of the moment and, you're there, I mean, you can't really say what you would have done. First thing is they shouldn't have illegally parked in a handicapped parking space. That's why it's illegal. Shouldn't do that if you're not handicapped. Number two, there were all kinds of other parking places around there. So this guy should have minded his own damn business, the shooter. I don't think I even said his name yet.
I didn't see it.
It's in here somewhere. I mean, they're not mentioning it. Michael Draka, I think, and he's a 47-year-old dude, and the guy he killed was 28 years old. So substantial age difference there. Dude looked like he, probably wasn't in that great a shape, the older guy. And the 28-year-old, like I said, I mean, he looked like he was a freaking monster. He was a bull. But anyway, if you feel like your life's going to be threatened, then according to the stand your ground, then you have right to deadly force defend yourself. And that's what this guy did. And they said it falls within the bookends of that law, which is why he's not being arrested. Now it's up to the county. The county has to it falls to their, it's their burden to provide the proof of whether there's a case against this guy or not, for murder, whether it was actual self-defense. But we were, I was talking, there were a lot of things that could have happened here to where this didn't have to happen. Could the guy that got pushed just held the guy at gunpoint, because he was backing off at that point, but he wasn't really running away kind of thing,
Yeah, he didn't seem like he was, he saw the gun and it stopped him in his tracks for sure.
Stopped him a little bit, but it didn't make him, really back off. But it looked to me like he was probably just kind of like, hey, dude, because it looked like he put his hands up to me. I don't know. But again, I mean, we're armchair quarterbacking this thing after the fact. I don't know which way I want to go with this on the jack. I think they're all jack wagons. Mm-hmm. Don't park in the freaking handicap spot. Don't do it unless you got, the proper permits to do that. There were plenty of other empty parking places around there. At the same time, if you see somebody that's parked in one, mind your own damn business. Okay? Unless you see a handicapped person that's having to park because somebody's parked there that's not, then go inside the store and let the store people know or call the police. Don't take it on yourself to be the Gomer Pyle or the Barney Fife of Mayberry.
I would tend to want to go help the handicapped person into the store rather than tell someone, than be a police officer.
Exactly.
On the street.
Exactly. And if it's a freaking fist fight, of course this guy probably would have got just waylaid. But he did pull his gun and he did use it. So the facts are the facts, just like the Sheriff Bob said. And that's where they are now. So we'll keep our eye on this one and kind of see where it goes. Keep you guys up to date. But I think the police did the right thing in not arresting the guy, because it does fall within the parameters. But supposedly this guy has harassed other customers there before with the handicap parking and whatnot. So I don't know that they wouldn't look at this guy maybe for mental issues as well. I'm just saying. But we'll keep you posted.
I'm with you. I don't know. I don't know which one's more of a jackwagon in that situation. So I think that one's everyone loses in that situation for sure. So
Yeah.
mind your own business and don't be a dick. There's a few lessons to be learned there.
Right. Yeah. And he probably could have just walked up to the dude and said, "Hey, back off,"
Mm-hmm.
something along those
Definitely.
lines. Because he definitely he appeared to me to be a more physically imposing person. So
Yeah, well, things went from bad to worse, right? First, it was you parked in the wrong parking lot, and then there was a little altercation, and then there was a shove, and that turned into a shooting.
yeah,
So
the death
de-escalate.
turned into a murder.
A murder, yes.
A murder. It was murdered. All right, so we'll keep you posted on that as we get more information. Now, another one that we'd reported on a couple episodes back, we had talked about the gentleman. I say gentleman. I don't know the guy, so I don't know if he's not a gentleman or not. But anyway, there's a wounded man trade shots with intruders to protect family, but cops charge him after perps run off. So at the time, we didn't know what was going to happen with this guy. He was a felon. He wasn't allowed to have a firearm to begin with.
Mm.
But some people broke into his apartment and they were shooting at him. I think he took 2 in the leg, and his family was in the house as well. So he had a gun and he shot back. I don't think anybody was killed, but he ran the intruders off. Obviously, the police were called. Police came, and he didn't resist arrest or anything like that. But he was a felon, and he wasn't supposed to have a firearm. So they are charging him. Not charging him with. I'll say I don't think anybody was shot or killed. There might have been one guy that may have been killed.
I know that the guy defending himself took one to the leg, is all I remember from the article.
Yeah. So the intruders broke in, told me and my family to get down on the ground. They ran for cover from dozens of shots. Also got his handgun. So he got his handgun, started firing back. The intruders ran off, was wounded several times. Okay, so nobody was shot, okay, at the time. So they're not charging him with anything, but they're charging him with illegal possession of the firearm. So, I was kind of mixed on this, but again, especially this, and I when I was trying to find the story again, J-Mack, there were more recent news of other shootings in that same apartment complex. So this is like a thing that happens there,
Not uncommon.
It's not uncommon, So, I don't blame the dude. Face the consequences. I'm gonna protect me and mine.
Mm-hmm.
Laws be damned. Sorry, I'm going to get a gun, and that's what this guy did. And now he's facing the music again. Unfortunately, maybe they'll be lenient on him. I don't know. But that's where it's at. At the time, they weren't pressing charges. But yeah, this guy's going to have his day in court now. But he's got an attorney, and his attorney is trying to get the charges dropped. But we don't know where it's at right now. So if any of you lead heads are out there, it's Carroll County. Which state is this? And I'm getting this news from The Blaze. So you guys can go to The Blaze. And the date on this article was June the 12th, 2018. So there's probably some updates. So if you lead heads want to get me updated on that, I greatly appreciate it. But it is developing. So there are the charges of illegal possession. Boom, boom, boom. Aww. Well, what would you do? What if you lived in a situation like that, an environment like that, and you're a felon, you're not supposed to have a firearm, but you know that people's apartments are getting broken into, weekly, daily, nightly. What would you do?
I wouldn't do anything different than this man did, and here I am saying it, for the world to hear, but you got to protect your family. I
Yeah.
would rather go to jail with all of my family living than to not have been able to do anything. Obviously the first recommendation is don't get a felon.
Don't be a
charge
felon, and then you
against
can
Yeah.
own a firearm.
Yes, sir. But I think the law did what it could do for this guy in this case. They're not charging him with shooting him. They're charging him with having the illegal firearm. So he got to have the gun and protect his family, and didn't get in trouble for that part of it. But he's in trouble for the possession of the firearm. So
Yeah.
I think that one worked out as good as it could.
Yeah, I think so. As far as the laws are concerned, yeah. I don't know what he's a felon for. Don't know what he did. Doesn't matter. But like I said, I hope maybe they're a little lenient on him.
Yeah.
I mean, he may. I called him a gentleman. He may be a douchebag. I don't know.
You never know.
Looks like a nice guy.
Could have just as easily been a hero as a felon with a
Well, I think regardless, he's a hero to his family.
Oh yeah.
Either way, he's a freaking hero to somebody there. He saved somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So
Agreed.
Good for him. All right, that's all I've got for the Jackwagon Train this week. You got anybody else?
No, that's I just had the Millers. I might. It's always fun. I'm not going to call it a jackwagon, but it's always fun online talking scopes with people and whatnot. I find myself feeling like I'm the worst shooter on the planet because everybody I talk to online is just doing amazing things with their weapons. So, man, I think maybe we should shoot ourselves straight online. There's a lot of bravery online.
I hear you, man. A lot of what do they call them? Keyboard commandos.
Yeah, like just they're unwavering too. They just keep coming and they're confident. They stick to their guns even when you point out that it's not. There's no way what they're saying is true. They just stick to it, and I'm like, I just can't get over it.
Well, we're going to talk optics now with J-Mack, and we're gonna shoot you the truth. I mean, we're going to shoot you straight here. We're going to talk components of scopes, and as we get into it, I mean, I'm learning, so I may not ask the right questions, and if I ask a stupid question, then just say, hey, that's a stupid question. Maybe you should ask it this way, Lefty, and I'll be okay with that.
Well, I'm going to do what I recommended these guys online do, and there are going to be some things that I don't know the answer to as well. I know the technical specs. I know how the scope works. I know how many MOA of adjustment. I know what the reticle subtensions are, weights, things like that. I know the internal component part. I know enough about to explain how it works, but I may not have the answer to all the questions myself. But I'm happy to defer and say we'll have to figure that one out.
Okay, so let's just take a typical 3x9 scope that you can get anywhere, and we're not talking about any one in particular because everybody does their scopes a little bit different, but basically the components inside a scope are all the same, right? Would you agree? Basically,
yes, sir. There's a number of different kinds and ways, but the basic design is
right
across the board.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about dissecting the scope. Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what I know a little bit about ours, and we use 6061 aircraft grade aluminum, and you'll see a lot of times the T6, so 6061 T6.
Mm-hmm.
That T6 just means that it's been heat treated to make it stronger. It's just tempered basically, so it's a better, stronger piece of aluminum, and it's just a one-piece main tube, and that's where all the components fit into. We have an objective assembly. That's the end that's closer to your barrel. That's not the end that you look through. And in there, obviously we have a.
Now that's the objective lens, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay.
Sir.
Now that lens, that objective lens. So we've got the tube. Okay, it's just hollow. It's a hollow aluminum tube, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you've got different diameters. Different scopes have different diameters as well. Do you know the part that the diameter plays in a scope?
Yeah, there's two different diameters. One is the main tube itself, and there's three pretty common sizes. There's the 1 inch, which is the smallest. and then it goes up to a 30 millimeter.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are there's a growing amount of 34 millimeter tubes.
Okay.
A big part, people will talk about it lets more light in and there's all kind of things going on, but a real big part of having a big tube means there's a lot more room for adjustment.
You just said.
I said it.
Having a big tube.
Yeah. So it's good to have a big tube. Yep. It's it is what it is with the tube size. So the larger the tube, the more room for adjustments in there, the more room for those internal adjustments.
Let me ask you this. So you also have different lengths of scope tubes, but there's only so long you can make those before you run out of real estate on a rifle. What's the pros and cons of a longer tube? Well, those are typically going to be your more magnifications, right?
Yes, sir.
Your higher magnifications.
Yes, sir. And again, it's just a matter of having the room and the space in the tube for the components to move and for you to increase the magnification. There are, we have a 4-16 hunting scope that's real short.
Mm-hmm. That's
just some really good. And I don't even know, quite honestly, what. There's some proprietary stuff. There's some stuff we do a little bit different. But there's that one's quite a bit shorter, and it's made for hunting. So they're doing better combining the length of the main tube and still having a good high magnification. But yes, in the past, the longer tubes are for the higher magnification, and your 1-4s and things like that are usually very short optics.
Okay. So we were on I interrupted you at the objective lens. So you're starting at the barrel end of the scope, and then working your way back to the ocular end, the eyepiece end. So,
yes, sir.
That lens, of course, we know that RITON, you get the best glass for your scopes out of Japan.
Yes, sir. Hand sourced
out of Japan. Now, is there another lens behind that one? How does that work?
Not on that one. On that one, well, yes and no. Behind that lens, there are other lenses in the scope.
Yeah.
But the objective assembly has a lens in it, and then you have some space between that and your adjustments, your turrets. So you'll have a parallax, your windage and your elevation turrets. Now,
when I'm turning those, what's actually moving inside the scope?
So what it's called is it's behind. It's just kind of it's from the turrets back towards where you're looking in the scope.
Uh-huh.
And what it's pretty interesting, but it's called an erector tube.
Okay.
And it's a tube inside of the tube.
Gotcha.
Okay. And there are a couple of lenses in that tube. And before I answer your first question, I'm going to answer a different one.
Sure.
And so those two lenses, as you turn that magnification ring, what you're doing is bringing those two lenses either closer to each other or farther apart. And the closer those two lenses are to each other, the higher the power of the scope. And the farther away from each other those two lenses in the erector tube are, the lower the power.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
It does. Yep.
I don't often explain this kind of stuff, so you have to forgive me if I...
Well, and I'm probably getting a little higher level than what you and I discussed, but as we're talking, more questions are coming to mind. So, So just bear with me.
No problem.
So my question was, when I'm making adjustments to, like you said, the parallax or the elevation adjustments, what's actually moving? Am I moving those little mirrors in there, or is it that tube? You said the tube in a tube.
Yes, sir. That's what you're moving. You're moving the erector tube. It's gonna move up or down, left and right. It has springs that hold it into place or keep tension on it.
Uh-huh.
So as you crank on your scope, you'll increase or decrease that tension, and your tube is going to, lift or fall or work to the left or right, to make those adjustments. And the reticle is obviously in there also, and that's what's moving.
Okay. So that tube, if I'm wanting, more elevation, the front of that tube's actually going to go up. The back of it's going to go down. Yes,
sir. Yeah. When more elevation's dialed up, the erector is going to move upward inside of the main tube. And then vice versa if you're dialing down.
And then I would assume my left and right, it's the same. That's moving left and right.
Yes, sir. It's just pushing that erector tube to the left.
Okay.
Or letting it come back to the right. Because there's a spring on the other side of the windage. So that's what keeps it in place.
I got you. So obviously the lens doesn't move. I would think those. Now you have other lenses, like you said, that are in there as well. You've got for the magnification, and everybody knows how a mirror works. So as you get that image, they got to have one to reverse it.
Yes. Yeah, that's what the two mirrors inside the erector set. That's another thing that they do is they get the image stabilized and as we would like to see it.
Now, what are those just made of your standard glass as well? As are different materials for your mirrors?
I'm not 100% sure on those particular mirrors what the standard practice is. There's a number of things like our coatings and some of the other things that they just keep kind of under wraps. Now,
that's something that I want to talk about, and we don't have to, talk about your secret sauce formulas or anything like that, but as we get into these parts, some of these parts, like you said, have special coatings that they put on them to anti-fog, anti-glare, kind of stuff. Because, you like in my mirror in my bathroom, you take a shower and it fogs up, but you...
Right, yeah.
Most...
Ours doesn't.
Right, you guys put a special coating on those. There's gases that you put inside these as well. I want to talk about that also. When as this scope's being built, when do these gases and things get put in? Because you hear about how they're nitrogen filled, or what are they?
Yeah, you got most scopes are either going to be nitrogen or argon. It's a dry argon or nitrogen, and they're purged with them to get anything out of there, and then they're filled and capped off. We do it in an EPA clean room, and after the components are inside the scope, obviously.
So that would be one of the last things that's done is the gas put in there and then sealed off.
They'll purge and fill it and then seal it in that room, and and those gases help to. They don't. They're more stable, so they don't rise and fall with the temperature. Like if you're in your hot car when you go out hunting and you wear glasses and you jump out of your car, that temperature change is going to affect your lenses.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything that if on a hot summer day, if let's say I'm driving like 3-hour drive to get to my spot where I'm going to go shoot, and it's a freaking 98-degree day, and I've got the AC running the whole time, and let's say I didn't put my scope in the case, and and it's getting that cold air built up on it, and then it's 80% humidity, 98 degrees, and I take that gun out, and what's going to happen all of a sudden? Right out, it's going to get condensation on there.
Yep.
I don't think there's anything that can stop that, is there?
Well, the coatings they help prevent it. So it does help.
Yeah.
It does help. There are some things that are tough to
I've
even 100% completely, but they do a great job.
As soon as I take it out, boom, those lenses, and it's on the outside. It's not the inside.
Right.
It's the outside of it. It just has to climatize. And what I should have done was left my gun outside before I was getting ready to go out. So I learned to listen the hard way with that.
Yeah, the good news is, though, we've talked about a number of lenses inside the scope already.
Yeah.
If it weren't for the gas that were in there and the way they're purged and filled, you would have that happening on a bunch of different lenses. And then you would have to wait how long until...
Internally, you'd have to take a hairdryer to it.
Yeah.
But that's why you do that you seal it off, and internally, that's not going to happen.
Correct.
Yeah. But I know a lot of people can probably relate to what I'm saying. So I jumped the gun with the gases, so there are other internal parts there. So we're building the scope. We're at the objective lens. We go on back. We're hitting the turrets, and those are outside, so we'll get to those in a minute. I'm talking internal parts now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of mirrors in there.
So we were at the erector tube.
Is that before the mirrors, or is it in between the mirrors? How's that?
The erector tube houses the two mirrors.
Ah, I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and that's why I said the position of those two mirrors is what changes when you turn the magnification ring. And like the closer together those are in the erector tube,
Uh-huh.
the higher the power, and the further apart, obviously, the lower the power.
Okay, so the magnification moves those mirrors.
Yes, sir. When you turn that magnification ring, there's a device in there that's spreading those apart or pulling them together.
Okay, good to know. I did not know that. I just learned something.
There you go. That's the basic workings there. And we talked about the turrets moving that erector tube up and down and left and right to calculate windage and elevation. And then there's another mirror, now that I'm thinking about it and explaining it. Behind the objective lens, there's a focus lens, and that is what works in conjunction with the parallax adjustment. And what the parallax helps do is get your reticle on the same focal plane as your target. And what that does is make sure that your reticle is crisp and clear in relationship to the target that you're shooting at.
Yeah, and you guys can go back to our 101 part 1, and we talk about parallax there.
Yeah. Parallax is important, especially if you're doing long-range shooting and different things.
It is.
It is important, yes, sir. I mean, even short, I imagine it makes a difference, when you start getting real precise.
So we went back up to the objective, so now we're going to back up to past the ejector tube. Is there anything else along the lines going down that erector tube after we get past the turrets?
No, sir, not on most scopes. You got that erector tube, and then you'll come back to your ocular your ocular assembly, which is what you actually look through, and then you have those lenses on that side. And then our scopes have a fast focus eyepiece, which also help just clear the reticle up. Depends on what your vision is. So being that everyone doesn't have the same vision, that fast focus eyepiece on the back just helps get things clear and crisp for your particular vision.
And that's typically where you do the power adjustment, right? Your magnification is back on that end?
It is, yeah. It's on the back side of the turrets. And then so the closest to your eye will be that fast focus eyepiece. And then in front of that will be your magnification ring. And then you'll have your main tube housing, your erector tube, windage elevation, parallax, and then your objective lenses assemblies. And again, on the ocular assembly and the objective lens assemblies, I'm not 100% on the number of those and exactly how those are placed in there. That's a little bit over my pay grade.
I gotcha. So as we're talking about this, I've got one of your Mod 5s 3-9x40s.
Yes, sir.
I'm just kind of envisioning as I'm looking through it the different parts as I'm going down through this. So started off with the objective, which is on this one the 40, so it's bigger on this end, and it's tapering down to. Is this a 1-inch?
You have the Mod 5. That is a 30 millimeter.
30 millimeter. Okay. And it's tapering down to 30 millimeters. And then I get to the turrets. Now, another feature that you guys have on yours is you've got, you do have the parallax adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
This is not an illuminated, so I don't have illumination on this one. Or do I? No.
No, sir.
Don't have that. And then I'm coming back, and then that's where I get once I get to the ejector tube, the mirrors, my power. So this one starts at 3, and then I go on up to 9 power on this.
Mm-hmm.
And then this piece behind my magnification adjustment, that's called
That's a fast focus eyepiece.
This is the fast focus eyepiece, okay. And at the very end, I've got the plus or minus. Is this my parallax adjustment?
No,
or this is my fine tuning?
Is fine tuning for your fast focus eyepiece. It's just letting you know, which way you're going.
Okay.
If you look at that eyepiece, if you get it back far enough, there's a little white dot in there, and you can follow that dot so you know where exactly it's at. So you can put your scope at the same place. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Are you seeing that?
Oh, okay. On the actual eyepiece itself, it's not internally. That I was looking internally at the.
No,
I
sorry.
see it. No, I see it right there. Yeah, I see that dot. So as I'm backing it out, then I can see it, and then as I'm turning it in, I had to pull it, turn it out a little bit further.
Yeah, it just gives you a reference mark to
Yeah.
to know where you're at. And it changes too over time. And
Now,
there's days I swear I'm different. So it's nice to have the adjustments.
as we're going internally, we're putting these pieces in. I've got my I've got a reticle. There's a reticle that has to come in somewhere. Is that how does the reticle come into play with your rear eyepiece here?
So the reticle position will be determined by whether or not you're a first focal plane or a second focal plane.
Okay.
The first focal plane reticle is located just in front of the turrets. It's like right there by the turrets. So it's in front. So it's the first focal plane. And then the aperture in a second focal plane is back towards that magnification ring more. And what it does is if the reticle is in front of that erector tube, then when you're changing that magnification, it doesn't matter on that reticle because the reticle's close to you and the magnification's happening behind it. So no matter what the magnification is, that reticle stays the same. It doesn't grow or shrink. It just stays like it is. In the first focal plane, the reticle is placed in front of the magnification. So as you're pumping the magnification up or taking it down, that reticle grows and shrinks in relationship to your target. Which has there's pluses and minuses to both first and second focal plane. Depends on what you're doing.
Right. And then that will bring us back to our eyepiece. What is the rear one called? Just the eyepiece lens?
It's the ocular.
It's the ocular? Okay.
Yeah, that's the ocular assembly is on the back. There's this ocular lens, and then you could call it an eye. The lens is an ocular lens. The whole chunk of material back there you could just call an eyepiece.
Okay.
And then they refer to exit pupil as
front is objective, rear is ocular.
Correct.
Gotcha. Now, is the front of a scope, the barrel end of the scope? Is that proper?
To say it that way?
Yeah.
Front, gosh, I don't know. That's the way I explain it to people. Just I just explain it in relationship to the gun so they can have a mental picture.
So I'm just thinking of it like a boat,
Right.
This is going toward the target. So this is the front of the boat. This is the rear of the boat where my eye's going. This is where I'm steering from, the rear of the boat here.
Yes, sir. That makes sense.
So I didn't know if there was a proper front or back to a scope. I've never heard anybody really. When they say the front, I always think of the objective lens.
Yeah, that's correct. And that's correct.
Okay. Just want to make sure I'm right there.
Yeah, you're right.
We're trying to educate our lead heads here so that when we talk, we sound intelligent.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna push me to learn some more. I'll be going back and doing some studying after talking to you to make sure I'm telling you the right things.
Okay. Well, I think you are. It all makes sense. It sounds like everything I've heard before. So then
I think we missed the focal lens assembly, which is between the objective and the turrets. That's the one that helps focus your parallax.
Okay. And that's not in the hold on. I'm going to get this right. It's not in the erector.
No, I do not believe it's in the erector assembly. It's in front of it.
Okay.
So you would have your on the exit side, on the barrel side, you've got your objective lenses, and then you come in, you got your focal lens assembly, which is for your parallax.
Mm-hmm.
And then just where your turrets start, you'll have that erector assembly. That'll have your reticle, either in front for first focal plane, or it'll be way behind it for second focal plane. Inside the erector assembly are the mirrors that they get the image to be right side up, and that's what it zooms the magnification in and out. And then behind that, you have the ocular assembly, which is what you look through the scope.
Okay.
And then like on some of them, you have that just fast focus eyepiece as well. That's the basic setup.
Gotcha. So then we go to our outside, and basically it's the tube, because these are typically one piece. Now, yours, I'm bringing it back down from the objective, going to the turrets. I've got 3 turrets on this 3x9. One is my up down, my left right. 2 of those do that, and then I've got another one on the left, and this is my parallax.
Yes, sir. The one on the left will be the parallax, and it'll have a yards indicator Just about every one of our scopes has a starting parallax adjustment at 10 yards. And I encourage anyone to look at their current scopes and see where their parallax setting starts, because it's going to be, 25, 50, maybe even 75. Mm-hmm. What that does is, if you can only have one scope and you put it on your 270 or your 300, but you want to put it on your 22 and go shoot whatever you want to shoot, then you have that option with that low parallax adjustment. So it's a key feature.
Yes, and yours does start at 10 and it goes all the way to infinity.
Yes, sir. It can't go past infinity, or we would.
Hard to beat infinity.
Yes, sir.
And then on the outside, I'm coming back behind my turn. You've got your caps. Talk about the caps that you have on yours, because I really like your caps.
So you talking about the scope that you have in your hand, the Mod 5 3-9?
Yeah,
by 40?
The turret caps.
Yes, sir. Well, that particular model is set up for hunting. A 3-9 is a great hunting scope. And so for that purpose, we cap the turret. So what that means is if you were to drop your scope or run into some bushes, or you're crawling, through some stuff, your turrets don't turn accidentally as you're crawling through the bushes. So those caps protect your internal turrets from being able to be moved, which is important when you're hunting. So that's where you would refer back to the sighting in process. So you sight in at 100, and then you can do the math and do the homework and figure out what kind of drop you have, and go out there and figure out how far your target away is, and make your adjustment either in the reticle, or if you want to take the cap off, you could do that too. But I think for hunting, most people zero their gun, put those caps on, and then they go out there and just make the holdover.
Yeah. In comparison, I've got the 1-4 by 24 here as well, and it does not have those hunting caps, we'll call them. You've got your push. You call them push pulls, or what do you call these?
Yeah, push pull lock in turrets.
Okay, talk about the functionality of those and the benefits of that.
So our Gen 1 scopes have the awesome tactical turrets, and what that means is you can make those. They're stiff, but you can make adjustments on the fly if you need to, which is great. The Gen 2s have upgraded to push pull locking tactical turrets. So they're not capped, but they do lock. So you'll pull that turret up. You'll make your adjustments, you'll push it back down, and then it's locked into place. Very
nice. And I've got one of those over there too. I just can't reach it right now.
Yeah. Well, and the 1-4s don't have a parallax adjustment. A lot of those 1-4, 1-5, 1-8 won't have a parallax adjustment. It'll be like a fixed parallax at 100 yards.
Yeah.
And that does leave room for more internal adjustment, but that's usually how those are developed. So.
And this one has let's talk about that. We haven't talked about this yet, the illumination.
Mm-hmm.
My 1-4's got illuminated sights. How does that work?
So, to the best of my knowledge, and
that's got to be another part inside the scope, right?
It is, yeah. So they'll make a hole inside of that scope, and they'll insert, like a small LED light. Again, ours are something I don't know. I haven't been to the factory, so I'm not 100% sure on it. But the basic way it's done is that light's inserted over the reticle, and then you have a number of different illumination settings, and it just lights that reticle up to give you, in low light conditions, or another condition that it helps, like with a tactical, like that 1-4. If it's a dark building or dark brush that you're shooting against, or just
it helps add contrast. Yeah.
Yeah, then that reticle will disappear in the darkness of what you're aiming at. So a little bit of illumination lets you know exactly where your reticle's at.
Yeah. Now, is that just a little light bulb, or is that a laser, or what's causing the illumination?
To the best of my knowledge, it's like a LED light.
LED.
That's in there.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, to the best of my knowledge, we'll see if I get in trouble or not.
Well, and just in general, I didn't know. LED makes sense. Some sort of LED light.
Yeah. They last a long time, and they're bright, and they're small. So
right, and that's how you get some of these. People have like different colors that they use as well.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, so and then that will bring us back to. So I was working our way back. You got the power adjustment mechanism here.
Mm-hmm. The magnification ring.
Magnification ring. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Trying to talk intelligent here. Magnification ring. And then you've got a dot for reference on this as well. So you
Yes,
know
sir.
it's on 5, 4, and it's right at the top as I'm adjusting it there. And then that brings me on down, and then it tells me I've got a 3 by 9 by 40 scope here, and then it gives me the +0 minus for the fine tuning.
Yeah, for yes, it'll fine tune your reticle to your target also.
Very good. And then then you'd have scope rings on this as well when you mount it, and that's everybody's got a little different preference on how they go about mounting their optics. And we talked about that a couple of episodes back, so you guys go back one with Charlie Melton where we talked about mounting and sighting in your scopes.
Well, if you're going to learn from somebody, learn from Charlie Melton, because he knows his stuff.
Learn from the best, right?
I believe so. I mean, I learned from him, so I'm going to say that for sure.
And speaking of, we've got a trip coming up soon it's Utah.
Yes, sir.
And Charlie and Brad are going to attempt, I think they will succeed, but they're going to attempt another world record long shot, rifle shot. And he's going to go, he's going to start off at 4. He's going to go 5. He's going to go 6. He may go 7. He may.
It just depends on what happens. There's no data out there for shooting at those kind of ranges.
Yeah.
Last year we zeroed at 1,000 yards and worked our way out to 5,000 yards. So now we have some. So
that's right. You were actually there for the first, was it the 5,025 yards that they did?
Yes, sir. I was calling wind and helping out any way I could. I had our right-on binoculars out there. They cut through the mirage like awesome.
Oh yeah.
I was actually on 10 power on binoculars. I was seeing splash and calling shots for Charlie at 2.86 miles away.
That's ridiculous.
It really is. It's a 14-second time of flight.
And I've told Brady this several times. That's what sold me on you guys were the binoculars. That's the first thing that I ever got my hands on and tried out, and I was hooked after that.
Yeah, they're incredible. They're HD ED glass. Those kind of things help. We could talk about HD ED a little bit if you want to. That's an important thing to note about the optics.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about it. We want to learn. So HD versus ED, and is this for just binoculars, or is this for scopes as well?
Yeah, this is just for lenses, so it would work for optics of any kind, yeah.
Okay.
So first off, all of our scopes are at least HD. And there's a misconception about HD. I think everyone has their 1080 HD TV or whatever it is.
Yeah, 1080p.
So they're like high definition, and it makes sense. But HD in the optics world is actually high density.
Okay.
And the denser the glass is, the better. The more defined the picture is, the crisper it is. There's not any reflection or refraction in the lens because it's so dense. It doesn't have room for light to bounce and move around, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so we do the Japanese HD glass in every one of our optics. The Mod 7 line, 5 to 25, 1 to 8 that we definitely need to talk about, 4 to 20, the binos.
Mm-hmm.
They are HD ED glass, and ED actually stands for extra low dispersion. I'm trying to think. The best way to explain that is, as light passes through a lens, it's changed, it moves around. And what you want is obviously extra low dispersion. So you want the least amount of color dispersion through that process. Mm-hmm. So the ED lens, what it does is it keeps the color spectrum tight. So you have crisper, brighter colors, which is better.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking through your binoculars, you can tell that. Yeah, it's like pop. It just pops, makes everything pop. I had actually tried these before I had my cataract surgery.
Mm-hmm.
I had an HD cataract.
Okay.
High density cataract.
High density Cadillac.
Yeah.
Cataract.
Yeah, a Cadillac. I called it a Cadillac. It felt like I had a Cadillac in my eye, blocking my vision. But when I put your binoculars up, it actually brought more light into that eye. I mean, even though I still couldn't see really good with it, I could tell that, you know, it was really making things bigger and brighter. And then after my surgery, I mean, it's like a whole new world now. I mean, everything is crisper, brighter. And then I took your binoculars out for the first time the other day. I actually got them back finally from Andrew, but and I was like, wow. I mean, this is like everything that I imagined if I could see out of that eye, what it would be like if I had both. I could see in stereo. I was seeing in stereo for the first time. And then with your binoculars, like you said, I mean, it just, even though I was seeing better than I've ever seen in my life and everything was already brighter, it made everything even more intense and bright. It was awesome.
Yeah, they're pretty amazing. I wish I would have started filming people as I gave them these binoculars, and this is, you know, at NRA, at SHOT Show, just at all the events. You know,
I'm telling you, they should be called the Holy Shits.
That's it. You're
because
exactly
that's
right.
the first words out of everybody's mouth is "Holy shit."
And you know, on my end, we see it over and over and over and over again. I need like a compilation of people just being like, "Oh my gosh, holy crap, holy shit!" You know, like they're just amazing. I've made a lot of people mad that have, you know, $1,200-$1,300 pair of binoculars.
Yeah.
Then they look through our binoculars and they start to be a little upset that they spent so much on their binoculars.
I know it. And I've been talking about them, you know, for a while now, and I love them. That's what sold me. That's why I have umpteen of your scopes now.
I'm glad you got them back from Andrew there. He's a good guy, man.
No. We had gone on a hunting trip a while back together, and I'd left him in his truck. But it turns out that they served him well because he was able to show a couple people and got some sales out of it.
That's the selling point with our optics. If veteran owned, veteran law enforcement owned doesn't do it, if an unlimited lifetime warranty doesn't do it, if a 48-hour turnaround on any service problems doesn't do it for you, then just looking through the scope will. If we could just get people to go out and find a dealer or find a guy like yourself and just look through a scope, then they'll want one. Yeah,
you leadheads, you're always welcome. Anytime you see me, if I'm out shooting and you want to try out any of my stuff, just come up and ask me. I'm completely okay with that. But like J-Mack was saying, go to your dealers, go to your local suppliers and ask for RITON by name, RITON, RITON Optics by name. I told you guys this a while back. We're trying to do a grassroots movement here where we want to make RITON a household name. So we want you going out there telling everybody you know, telling your cousins and your aunts and your uncles and your church members and your PTA and your bird watching group. They've got something for everybody at RITON Optics. It's American, like J-Mack said, American owned, veteran owned, family run business. You don't get any better than that. The guys are out of Arizona, and they give back to our military and law enforcement as well. Give great freaking discounts to these guys. So,
yeah, incredible discounts for our law enforcement, military, first responders. So brings a lot of people on, which has been good because then they tell a friend and they tell a friend.
Yeah, and that's how we want to grow this company. But we got to get the name out there. So you guys go to your local gun store. Go to your Dick's is out of business. They're going to be out of business soon, so don't go to Dick's.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Go to your Academy Sports. I don't know what other sports stores are around the country, but everybody's got a different one.
You know what we like, Marty, is we're really pushing for the brick and mortar stores too. Like, we like stores like ourselves. So there's a whole lot of veteran-owned gun stores out there.
There you go.
And we love those guys. So just even go to your local gun store, hit them up, talk about them. While we're on that topic, one of the things I was brought on to do with the marketing team at RITON was to build our pro staff team and our brand ambassadors. Our brand ambassadors are kind of like celebrity level people that we have use our stuff. So if you're a celebrity, holler.
So that's not
and
me.
We'll get you hooked up. and then we have pro staff, and we are actively looking for pro staff members. So any of the lead heads that want to jump on the pro staff, go to our website, and you can find a link for an application for the pro staff. And what you do is,
Cool.
You go out, you get some scopes, you get some shirts and hats, and we have you go out, and just talk to people about the brand wherever you go, post some videos. If you're a writer, we do that. We got guys that are popular on social media that post pictures.
If you're a competition shooter out there, if you're on
absolutely
a team, I don't know if high school teams have shooting teams anymore. I just found out that they do fishing teams in high school now. I didn't.
What?
Yeah, they get college scholarships for fishing nowadays.
I'd have ruled that.
Right? I would have been all over it. They didn't have it when I was in school. But yeah, go ahead. Don't let me interrupt you.
No, I'm just saying we're diligently looking for pro staff members. So, man, if you think you've got anything at all to offer, if you just want to be part of the movement, then definitely go to our website and find that link for the pro staff. Fill out that application. It'll come to me. And we'd love to get you on and get people out there.
Website is RITONUSA.com.
Yes, sir.
They're on Instagram at RITON. Is it just at RITON?
Yes, sir.
I think it is. And then, do you want them to know your Instagram?
Yeah, you can do that too.
Because you do a lot of posts there too, and a lot of interaction. So J-Mack is a great guy to start following on your Instagram, guys.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, it's J-Mack 1179.
And that's JMACK, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There we go. Very good. So that's going to conclude our one-on-one class part 3. If you guys have questions, send those to me, talkinglead@gmail.com. If you want to send them directly to J-Mack.
Yeah, you can do just J. Alexander at RITONUSA.com.
That's just the letter J?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You can send them to the X, because I'm just going to forward them to him.
Yeah. You can hit me up on Instagram too, in any of those places. I'm actively answering questions and trying to help anywhere I can all over.
There you go. But as you guys know, as you interact and do stuff with us, you may win something, may win a little prize. And, that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm giving away some awesome Talking Lead swag from the Talking Lead Vault. And we're going to pull this one. I think I went to iTunes last time. So what do you think? Should I do iTunes, Facebook, or Instagram, J-Mack?
You said you did iTunes last time?
Mm-hmm. I can do it again. It doesn't matter. You tell me. You tell me where to go.
Let's hit Instagram. Let's do Instagram.
All right, let's do Instagram. So Instagram, let's go to my recent post. I'm pulling it up now. I'm going to the Talking Lead. So let's go pick a post there for me to see if we've got some comments.
You just want me to pick one of these posts that you've done recently?
Let's find a RITON post.
Okay.
Let's find one I did with the RITON Optics.
Yeah, it's the magnifier, the 3X magnifier and red dot. And there's a gentleman giving some lessons on here. He said it was beautiful, and you got to love the 5 point of contacts, he said.
Okay.
So the guy was looking hard. He was looking hard at what she was doing.
So let's pick a winner from that. So where's the post at? I got to find the post.
It's a young lady. It's not far down. It's just a young lady with an AR with an American flag magazine.
Oh yeah, that's Pepper. Yeah, that's the one we did. I think around 4th of July there. Yeah. So we got Pepper with the with my truck gun, and I've got the 3X magnifier and the micro red dot on there. It's got an American flag magazine there. So
love it.
All right. So we got Mikey Hartman, we got Matt Klein, we've got Jerry Black, that's J Black 2P, and then RITON Optics, which you guys aren't eligible. So, and Talking Lead's not eligible. So pick one of those people. Let's do the Mike Hartman guy. And let's not pick Mikey Hartman because he's the CEO of
Is he?
of CAA. Tactical.
Okay. All right.
Although
he
engaged. So,
he did.
He's eligible.
Multiple times he engaged. That's why I picked him, because he had multiple comments.
Love you, Mikey. Mean it. If you want something, just let me know. I'll send it to you.
Just holler. There's the J-Mack P2P. That was one of the first people that started. Is he eligible?
Okay, yep. He's eligible.
Jerry Black.
All right, so Jerry Black, you just won some, and he is a longtime leadhead, and we appreciate Jerry's support. So get in touch with me, Jerry, talkinglead@gmail.com. He actually has my number too. So you've just won some swag. Yay, Jerry. So we're not going to stop there, J-Mack. We've got 2 watches that we're going to give away today of our 10 watches for 10 vets that we're doing with Defy watches. So we're going to pick 2 of those 10 today. And the first one, I'm going to read the email, and then I'm going to tell you who it is. So it says, I joined the Navy June 2001 as a damage controlman, firefighter, and first responder, chemical, biological, radiological warfare specialist. That's a big specialist right there.
Oh, serious.
I also was responsible for ship stability and buoyancy. I love my job and love being a part of something bigger than myself. At the time I joined the military, was at war, and everything was organized chaos. Isn't that what it normally is?
It is for me.
My first duty station was in Norfolk, Virginia, on the USS Nicholson, DD 982, an old school destroyer. We had some real oh fuck moments due to being in hostile territory. We decommissioned that amazing ship in 2003. My second duty station and where I ended my career was on the USS Bridge. My career ended suddenly due to having heart surgery. So I was never a badass operator, even though I wanted to get that level. He wanted to get to that level. I trained a ton and I was good at my job. I have regrets every day about leaving the military and wonder what if. I'm sure you'll have these amazing gunfighter emails and telling these stories, and I thank God for what they did for us. But I just wanted to tell my short story and maybe want to watch at the same time. Love the podcast, and you and your guests are inspirational. Well, I hope so. Come on now. Thank you for everything you do. Roger B. I'm not going to say his last name. 3rd class petty officer. Hoo-yah, he says. So, Roger B., you know it's you because of that story. There's only one person that has that story. You are the winner of one of our 10 watches for 10 vets. So congratulations, Roger. Shoot me an email, talkinglead@gmail.com. Obviously, you've got the email address. And we'll make sure Jeremy sends you one of those watches. Now, and these could be law enforcement, it could be firefighters, it could be police officers, it could be whoever. Our second winner today, J-Mack, is your neighbor's cousin?
Nephew.
Your cousin's nephew from the church shooting.
Oh, cool.
So you just send me his contact info, and we'll make sure that if he's got kids or whatever, that watch goes to that family.
Okay. Yeah, he does. He's got a few daughters and a son.
Very cool. Very cool. So that's our second watch today, guys. I could not, after hearing that story, go that route with it. So thanks for sharing that story with us, J-Mack.
Yes, sir. Thanks for the giveaway.
And tell me his name again.
Brad Miller is the guy that we'll give it to. He's the family.
Okay.
And then Bert was the gentleman that died.
Bert Miller.
Yeah.
That's
what they called him, yeah.
This is going to Bert Miller's family. He was a firefighter. So hope they enjoy it.
Yeah, they're good folks. And he's a police officer. His nephew's a police officer, too. So
oh, okay.
I think that'd be a good use of lead paraphernalia.
Very good. So that does it for our giveaways today, Leadheads. As always, be engaging with us on our shows. Make sure you're leaving us feedback on whatever podcasting system that you're listening to us from. Typically iTunes, iHeartRadio. I know some of those don't give you the option to leave feedback. So if you can get iTunes, download and use iTunes just to leave feedback, if nothing else. I'm all for that. And then send us new listeners. If somebody says, hey, such and such sent me here, first time listening, love the show, you're eligible to win something too. So very good. before we sign off, and I forgot to do this at the beginning of the show, I want to thank all of our sponsors, Jeremy. RITON USA, obviously the official optics of Talking Lead. We're going to talk about some new things you guys have coming down the road in just a second. But we're going to thank all our sponsors. Modern Spartan Systems. Guys, don't just clean your firearms, optimize them with Modern Spartan Systems line of cleaning solutions, lubes, greases, and they even got stuff for your engine. The TVT engine oil additive, keeping the old lead sled running now for 320,000 miles strong, J-Mack.
Wowzers. I use it on my rifles. I never used it in a vehicle, but I definitely use it on all my rifles.
The TVT? You don't use the TVT.
No, I don't use
they have a
the
specific...
I use the cleaning and lubricant for the weapons.
Yeah, so you need to try their TVT engine oil additive. You can put that in anything that's got an engine, and it's going to help protect and extend the life of that engine.
I could use that the way I got plenty of kid drivers, so
there you go.
We need all the protection we can get over here at the Alexander house.
Yeah, so Marcus was telling me a story one time. He had a buddy that I think he said he didn't change the oil for over a year, and he was just running it on the TVT engine oil additive.
Oh my gosh.
We don't recommend you do that, but he had been running it. Right, he had been running it, and he wasn't actually aware that there was, because he wasn't getting any of your typical when your engine's out of oil kind of symptoms. Mm-hmm. So he just forgot, I guess, and never changed it. But don't recommend doing that. X Steel Targets.
X Steel Targets.
The best, most affordable AR-500 steel targets on the market today are X Steel Targets. Guys, go give Bud a visit over at xsteeltargets.com, and he's got everything that you need there. He's actually going to be providing some targets for Charlie and us. I understand we get some trigger time too.
Yes, sir. Brad Stair with the Performance Guns he's got a few weapons that he's going to let us work on, and if you have a weapon, you can reach out there, and maybe you can get in that 4,000 yard club.
There you go. I know I'm definitely going to give it a shot, but we're going to be shooting at some specially made targets for this event for Charlie and Brad from X Steel Targets.
They'll have Charlie's logo on it, if I understand right.
Oh, cool. The CMP?
Yes, sir.
Charlie Mike Precision. Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. That'll be a good time. So I'm looking forward to see what he's designed for these shots. It's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, it is, and we're excited. We're going to be one of the optics that they'll be using on some of these guns too. We have a newer optic we're going to let Charlie try out, so we're pretty excited.
Yeah, is that something we can talk about yet?
Not yet. That one's still a secret squirrel.
Okay.
For the time being, I do have some I would love to talk about though.
Okay, and we're going to do that. Just a minute. We got to thank everybody. We got to thank Defy Watches, the official wristwear of Talking Lead. You guys, until the end of the month, 44% off any watch from Defy Watches. You go to their website and just use that Leadhead discount code, and Jeremy's going to hook you up with an awesome discount. And then keep your nominations coming for those vets as well. If you're a veteran, listens to this show, law enforcement, military, fire, send us your story. You don't have to give great details if you don't want to talk about your service. Just let us know that you served. And then how long you've been listening to the show, why you like listening to the show, just a little something there, and you'll be eligible for one of those watches like we gave away today, 2 of those today. Who am I forgetting? 1776, the official swag provider for all your Leadhead needs, T-shirts, mugs, patches. We got them at 1776united.com. And then they've got a whole slew of other products that they design as well. They got some cool shirts and mugs and caps, and even do jewelry over there made out of cool stuff. I don't know what all goes behind that, but maybe we'll do a show on that one day. 1776united.com. All the shirts that you saw, if you guys went to Instagram, Facebook, and saw the party picture that we posted, those were all from James over at 1776 United. He's been doing our shirts from the beginning. So we have our original logo, we've got the Leadhead Brigade logo, and then we've got another special edition logo coming out soon. So stand by for that. And then friends of the show, VanQuest Gear, they make those awesome bags. You've heard me talk about them. I've got a couple of my truck gun bags that I use, my camera equipment that I haul around, my recording equipment that I haul around. I use their bags for that. So make sure that you guys go check out VanQuest at vanquest.com. And then the official sponsors for our Talking Lead AK Corner, Pioneer Arms. Make sure you guys go check out Pioneer Arms. They're pioneer-pack.com and check out their awesome AK-47s, the PPS-43s, the Hell Pups that they've got there. And they've got some cool videos on their website, too. I think they got a YouTube channel, too, that you can check out. But we'll have more next month with the Talking Lead AK Corner Part 2 with Schwell, my co-host, and Pioneer Arms. You guys stay tuned for that. I think we may even do, talk optics on one of those episodes coming up.
Let's do it.
You and I talked about that, so we definitely want to do that. And our buddies over at Frontier Tactical, I haven't mentioned them in a while, but Frontier Tactical, makers of the Warlock multi-caliber adapter system, so you can shoot up to over 100 different calibers from your one AR with their Warlock adapter. Just quick change out the barrel, put the new caliber on. If it requires a bolt change, just change out the bolt carrier group. There we go. BCG, and then magazine. If you got a different mag, you got to use too. But they show you everything that you need when you get that, and whatever calibers you want to shoot. They pretty much can supply everything there at Frontier Tactical. Check them out. So, RITON, the official optics of Talking Lead. You guys heard me talk about this one. I've been waiting for a while now. I guess since even before SHOT Show, I knew about it. So I've really had a hankering for this. But you've got a new scope coming out.
We do. We're going to actually be at TriggerCon up in Seattle this weekend.
Right.
And we have actually it's two new optics coming out. They're both 1:8 by 28, and then they have that 34 mil tube. They're both illuminated. We partnered with Craig Boddington,
famous hunter.
Yes, sir. He's was a former Marine, very very famous hunter and journalist. He helped us with the reticle in that one. Awesome guy. He's done everything you can do in the hunting world. And we have a really awesome reticle in our second focal plane, 1:8 by 28.
Nice.
And then we collaborated a little bit with Charlie Melton on our tactical version of it. So we have a first focal plane, 1:8, and it's also a 34 mil tube. They're both tremendous scopes. Fully assembled in Japan. They'll be on our Mod 7 line coming up.
Very nice. And
I've got to play with a couple of them, or with each of the first and the second focal plane, and yeah, they're incredible. So I'm also waiting. I don't have one yet. I'm diligently waiting until I can get my hands on one too, because I got an AR that wants one.
I've got a couple that want one. Yeah. So awesome. So they can expect this to be able to get it when? The lead heads?
Literally any day. Like our shipment is on the way, and we're waiting at the box every day for them to come in. So stay tuned.
Okay. So they're not up on the website yet? No,
sir. The website will be getting revamped and taken care of. But if you follow us on social media, we'll definitely do a blast when those are available for purchase. Everyone will know.
Very cool. And we need to make sure that Leadhead discount code is still in effect. So for you Leadheads, you go there and you use the Leadhead discount code. You're going to get a nice discount. And then, as always, if you're military, law enforcement, get in touch with those guys, and there is a super special discount for you guys and girls.
Yeah. Yes. And I would encourage anybody to look at the features on that 1:8, or any of our scopes really. But look at the features on that 1:8 optic, and then go look up any other scope in that range with those features built the way that one's built. And you're going to see that you're paying half as much for this scope and getting the same amount of scope as a very very high price scopes. It's an exciting thing. I hope people catch on how incredible a deal it is.
Yeah. And have you got the price point yet?
There'll be MSRP on them. Will be around, I want to say, I think they're around $1,200 is the MSRP. Like
Okay.
$1,199 for the second focal plane and like $1,200 for the first focal plane.
Okay.
But comparably, you're looking
Comparably, yeah, you're double
20
that with anybody else.
20, yeah, 2,700 or something like that. Like, yeah, I just encourage people, go ahead and do your homework, and you'll be shocked
Yeah.
When you start looking up a high quality scope with the features this one does.
Very cool. RITONUSA.com, RITONUSA.com. Go to your local gun stores and ask for them by name. Tell them to get in touch with me, and I'll put them in touch with J-Mack, and he'll get somebody out there to their store.
Oh, 100%. We'll make it happen.
There you go. J-Mack, thank you so much for taking the time to be on. Great lesson today. I learned a lot. There's a lot of things that I didn't know today, so you taught me something, man.
Oh, good. Now I got to go back and make sure I was right on everything, and I'll probably learn something in the process.
No doubt. Guys, again, thank you so much for all the support over the past 5 years. You lead heads are great. Actually, we're 5.5 years now. It'll be 6 years this December. And we're going to continue to give stuff away. So make sure you're listening to the show, engaging with us, taking part, and you could walk away with some awesome lead head swag. Just look at the post that the lead heads are posting when we send it to them. Cool stuff. And stuff from our sponsors too, like giving away 12 rifles. Come on, who else does that? Who gives away 12 rifles? Any other podcast you know of? I don't think so.
Not one I've heard.
Right here on Talking Lead, baby. Any parting words, J-Mack?
Well, yes, I guess, because I'm talking. We appreciate, Talking Lead and you guys working with us. And, again, I just encourage everyone to go take a look through the scopes. Being veteran-owned is awesome. The warranty's awesome, but just take a look for yourself. Take a second, do yourself a favor, and have your own holy shit moment when you look through our optics.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better. That does it for another episode of the Talking Lead podcast, Lead Heads. As always, keep your loved ones close.
And your firearms closer.
Mounted with
RITON Optics.
There you go. Gotta put that twist into it, man. And your firearms closer.
Oh, gosh, that's where I jump in, right?
Right.
You want to do it again?
No, just say your part because I can edit.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot. Like you said it and you blanked, and I was like, I'm supposed to say something. I remember I'm supposed to say something. I've heard this podcast.
All right, I'll give you another shot at it. And as always, lead heads, keep your loved ones close.
And your firearms closer. Well,
mounted with RITON Optics.
Oh, I thought you were going to give me an intro on that one, too. Okay, one more time.
No, just put your twist to it.
Just do the whole thing?
This is like, yeah, I'll do it again and then put your RITON twist to it.
Okay.
And as always, lead heads, keep your loved ones close.
And your firearms closer. And if you want to be right on, mount us RITON Optics.
What did you say?
Can't hear me? Did I blank out?
You said, go. So tell me what you said.
And I said, and if you want to be right on, mount us RITON Optics.
Mount us. Okay.
Yeah. That's probably a weird thing to say, but
mount us.
I said your tube having a big tube is better. I said mount us.
If your tube's not big enough, mount us.
Yeah. Mount us regardless of tube size, please.
There you go. Don't have tube envy.
No.